Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lad on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're gonna learn about the switch statement in C++. So in the tutorial on if statement, we have learned that using the if statement we can compare the value of a variable using the comparison operators. Let's say in your program you want to check whether the value of a variable equal to a bunch of values. At that time what we can do is we can use the if and else if, and we can form the condition using the equal to operator. But in C++ we have something called switch. So the switch statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. So each value is called a case and the variable being switched on is checked for each case. So I've written the syntax of the switch statement here. So as you guys can see here, to use this switch we need to write the keyword switch, and here we need to write an expression. So this expression must evaluate to an integral or enumerated type. So whatever the value we're gonna have here, or whatever the result of the expression that we're gonna have here, will be compared to each and every value placed in this case statements. So these cases are nothing but one of the values that we want to compare with the result of this expression or with the value stored in this variable we specify here. So we can have as many case statements we want. So this case statement is going to contain a value that will be compared to the value of this expression, and if that value is matched, then we're going to execute the statements in that particular case or in that particular block. Once we execute the statement that we wanted to execute, then to come out of this switch statement we're going to use the break statement, and we can have a default block which will be executed, or the statements of a default block will be executed if none of our case matches the result of the expression or the value stored in the expression. So if it's confusing, don't worry, while programming you guys can understand easily. Alright, now I'm gonna delete all these things and we're gonna write a program. So here, just for the demonstration purpose, we're gonna compare the grade of a user with the various values. For example, if the user has a grade A, then we're gonna say, okay, you got the grade A, you're excellent. If he has the grade B, then we're gonna say, okay, not bad, like that. All right, first I'm gonna create a character variable. So it's gonna be char, and I'm gonna call it as input. All right, and next I'm going to use a switch statement. To use the switch statement we need to write the keyword switch and then a pair of parentheses. So between these parentheses we need to write the expression or the variable that we want to compare with a bunch of other values. So here in this case we want to compare the value of this input variable. That's why I'm going to write the input here. So it can be an expression. Alright, but make sure that when we use an expression, the result of that expression must result in integral or enumerated type. Next we're going to write a pair of curly braces, and between these curly braces we need to write the case statements. So these case statements are nothing but the value that we want to compare with this input. So in this input variable may contain a value A, B, C or D. So here what we're going to do is we're going to write case A. I'm going to write capital A, and since it is a character it should be written in single quotes, then colon, and then if you guys want, you guys can form a code block by using this curly braces. I use this because when I use this I can place the code neatly. So here within this block I'm going to write the statements that I want to execute. So here we're going to say cout, we're going to say excellent. And next, if you guys want to write any statements you guys can write, but here we just want to write only this much, and we need to write the break statement to come out of this switch after executing this case. And then I'm going to copy this case and I'm going to paste it in the next line, and 2 more times. Okay, next I'm going to change this one to B, and the message is gonna be very good, and this is gonna be C, and the message is gonna be good, and this is gonna be D, and the message is gonna be okay, not bad. Alright, so I'm gonna save this one right now, and we're gonna initialize this input variable with a value of A. So I'm gonna write capital A because we have used capital A here, and I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna build and run this. So you guys can see it says excellent. So that's because what happened here is this input variable was containing the value A, so that value will be compared with the values which we have in these cases. So first it is compared with this case A, and at that time it matches, and that's why the statements inside that block or the statements in the case A block will be executed. Excellent. And then we have the break statement. That's why the control comes out of this switch statement, and it just executes the other statements. So we're gonna have done grading. All right, before that let's include a new line. So it's gonna be end line. Alright, I'm gonna save this and run it again. So now you guys can see excellent break statement, and it comes out of this switch and continues to execute the other code. The next thing is if we change this one to, let's say, C, and run this, it says good, done grading, and similarly if the value is B or D, then it's going to execute the particular or the respective block. So I'm going to save this one. The next thing I want to teach you is about the default block or the default case. So in a switch statement we can have a default case. So this default case or the statements that we're going to write in this default case will be executed if the result of this expression or whatever the value we have in this variable will not match any of the values of these cases. At that time the default block will be executed. To write a default block we need to write the keyword default and then the colon, then this curly braces are optional, but I'm gonna write it because it allows me to organize the code properly. And we're gonna say don't know your grade. Alright, I'm gonna save this one, and here we're gonna change this one to, let's say, F. Now we have F, and none of these case values are gonna match this value F, and that's why this default block will be executed and it's gonna say don't know your grade. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna build and run this. So it says don't know your grade. Alright. And also, I don't know whether you guys have noticed or not, we are not using the break statement inside this default case. If you guys want, you can use that, but this is of no use because this break statement is used in a case just to come out of the switch statement after executing the statements of a particular case. And since this default case is always written at the end, after executing the statements of the default case, the control will automatically come out of this switch statement. So that's why we're not using the break statement, or it's not necessary to use the break statement in the default case. Here if we didn't have this break statement, what happens is and if we had the value A, then this case A will be matched and this cout statement will be executed, and then the other statements in this switch will be executed. So it's gonna execute excellent, then very good, and then we have the break. That's why it's gonna come out of this. So just to demonstrate that, I'm gonna build and run this. So now you guys can see here we have excellent, then very good, and then done grading. Because of this break, the control comes out of this switch statement. So I'm gonna close this one. And the next thing that I want you guys to teach is, if you want to execute the same statements for different values of cases, then you guys can combine them. So here we have case A and we are executing this cout statement. Let me add a break before. Okay, now I want to execute these statements for the case small a also, so I can combine that. So it's going to be case and small a and again the colon, and these statements in this block will be executed if this input variable contains a capital A or a small a. So you guys can combine that. So I'm gonna change this one to small a, just for the demonstration purpose, and I'm gonna build and run this. So now you guys can see we got excellent. So similarly, you guys can write as many case statements you want in your program, and you guys can group as many cases to execute the same code. And the next thing is the data type of the constant expression or the data type of a case value must be same as the data type of the result of this expression in the switch. So if this case value has character data type, then this switch variable must have a character data type, and if it is int, it should be int. So this is it, guys. This is about the switch statement in C++. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you guys have any doubt, don't hesitate to ask us, and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/learninglad, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.